All right, guys, this Mul-t-Lock Jr. just came in the lock lab. It's from Riley, and she said she couldn't get this thing picked despite multiple attempts, and apparently quite violent attempts. I don't know, right? I'd say you're probably using too much force, but I guess whenever you see a lock that's this beat up, you want to make sure your core is still free, and I'm just moving the actuator on the back, and it seems to be. It's a little beat up, but not too bad, so hopefully it's still pickable. I want to make sure there's no weirdness down in there. And there's nothing obstructing the keyway. I can see all the way through it, so should be pickable. Let's find out. Get this guy up here. Get this centered. And see if we can't get this dude clamped up, get it picked. Hopefully without violence. All right, I am going to use one of these guys simply because it'll allow me to keep my hand kind of out of the frame a little bit. Let me zoom in. Yeah, that's about as good as it gets. Let me zoom in a little, let me tension it. I'll go clockwise and let me get a pin up here. Now these are pin and pin. There's 5 pins in here. And we have to pick the outer pins first. And generally when we pick the outer pins and get hung up on those inner pins, these two lines will be offset a lot. Should be pretty obvious when you've picked your way to the inner pins. At that point, it's probably a good chance to change picks. And we'll talk about that if we get there before the hammer has to come out. All right, I'm going to start out with a flat flag. This is number 5 from the multi-pick kit. And out of the frame, I'm going to apply moderate tension and then try to force something to bind. And there it is, right there in the front. We'll take that, pin 1. Nice click. Pin 3. There's like pin 5. Get under there. Try not to pick the inner pin too. Just get the outer pins first. And I might have just overdone it on 5. I might have just overset him. Let's find out. I think I'm okay. Because if 5 had been overset, chances are we wouldn't have been able to pick number 3 like we just did. We have a little bit of a fault set going. Trying to figure out, there we go, spool on 2. 4, binding, and this is spool as well. And I think I might have overset him. That was pin 1. Pin 2. Pin 5. And again, I've lost the fault set. There we go, got it back. So pin 3 had popped back down. All right, somebody is not quite right. Because when we get hung up on the inner pin, there we go, pin 2 is back down. When we get hung up on the inner pins, there really shouldn't be any doubt. Come on. Be hammer time. There we go. Pin 1. Pin 3. Pin 5. And we have a good fault set. That might very well be hung up on the inner pins. Let's just check the outer pins again. Nope, I'm on pin 2, outer pin, and I'm getting counter rotation. Now I have a very, very deep, let me hold this up here, very, very deep fault set. So almost assuredly we are hung up on the inner pins at this point. So now rather than continue with a straight flag, now remember, some of those inner pins can be cut higher than the outer pins. And if you try to use a flat flag and you squeeze it up in there and it's cut higher, what you'll end up doing is oversetting the outer pin, if that's possible. So what I'm going to do is take a left flag, trying to grab with one hand here. This is the number 6 for the multi-pick kit. It is the minimum, the smallest left hook. And I filed this down so that I can reach up inside of the outer pins, hopefully, and reach those inner pins without disturbing the outer pin. Okay, that was 4. And there's 5. I think that's an open. Either that or we have an incredibly deep false set. So there we go. All right, that wasn't too bad. So let me set this down here for a second. Move the camera, and why don't we gut it? And the reason I say that, first of all, it's been beat to death. There's a screw missing here, and somebody has painted the top of this black, which might be trying to disguise or hide something. So let's gut it and make sure that all the parts really are still inside of there, and there's no weirdness. All right, so I will need, I don't have the key, so I don't want to relock it, that's for sure. So I'm going to keep it, I've already rotated it too far, and now you can see the upper pins down inside. So I'm going to have to rotate it back. That's pretty easy to do. Before I do that, though, I'm going to take that screw out. Use a Phillips. Oh, and the core is already coming out by itself. I don't want it to come out like that, because as soon as I do, those pins are going to start popping. So what I'm going to do is take a 25 thousandths pick and push those pins up and then rotate my core a little bit. So now my upper pins are striking the core right there, and my core pins, or the key pins, are right about here. So I don't want to rotate it too much further. See if that will work. And let's see if we got a follower. See if this dude, medium should fit. Pretty close, but I think we can get it. Let's try it. That dude is too big. Let's try this guy. Okay, I'll take it. Okay, what do we got going here? My follower is caught up on a pin that apparently has popped down in front of it. So I'm going to try to push the core back, and he won't go. So let's pull this guy out, and that's what's happened. Is one of the pins in chamber 5 has popped down. Probably popped down, there was enough of a gap right there. He probably popped down the side of there. So my bad, but we're going to salvage this. Let's go ahead and pull him out of here. So we got a spool in chamber 5 right there. And our spring, throw him down there. And let's just keep pulling these out without the benefit of the follower. So this next one, you can see the pin down in the groove. That's what happened. You can see it in the groove in the back of the lock. So there is number 4. Also a spool. Get rid of that. We don't need that. And let's keep going. There's another one, another spool. Come out of there. Just want to make sure we're not getting too close to the danger zone there. All right, next one. Should be number 2. Come out. Whoa. Another spool. And, oh, get that spring out of the way. And the last one. And there he is. Oh, standard. Finally, there you are. Okay. Another spring, obviously. Not going to worry too much about that. The body is now empty. Now here's where the real trickery is. All right, there's all the pins. They are there. So let's go ahead and start tapping them out from 5 going back that way. Let me move this out of the way. I'll do this up here because sometimes these guys fly apart. Okay, so that inner pin is from chamber 4. So let's take this guy, put him right here, and there's the inner. And this is the inner for 4. And the outer for 4, if I can get him to come out. There you go. A little bit shy. Okay, number 3. And he is a mushroom, just like number 5 was. And There is an inner pin. Come out of there. There you go. I'm going to get number 1 next, simply because it's a little easier. Okay, there we have our inner and outer. And the last one. Number 2, a standard. There's your outer, there's your inner. Nothing unusual about these inners. That's the reason I was pulling them. Sometimes these are serrated. It'd be kind of unusual to find that inside of a junior, but hey, stranger things have happened. And since I knew this lock had the potential, I mean, somebody obviously messed with the outside. I thought somebody might have messed with the inside too. Anyway, guys, here's what you're looking at. Downstairs, we have 2 mushrooms, and the rest of these, the other 3 are standards. All standard inner pins, and on the upper we had 1 standard and 4 spools. So really interesting pinning for a Mul-t-Lock Junior. Pretty cool lock. Riley, I can understand why you might have gotten frustrated with this, but oh my gosh, not the hammer, not the hammer. Appreciate your time, guys. Stay safe, stay legal. Anyway, guys, here's what you're looking at. Downstairs, we have 2 mushrooms, and the rest of these, the other 3 are standards. All standard inner pins, and on the upper we had 1 standard and 4 spools. So really interesting pinning for a Mul-t-Lock Junior. Pretty cool lock. Riley, I can understand why you might have gotten frustrated with this, but oh my gosh, not the hammer, not the hammer. Appreciate your time, guys. Stay safe, stay legal.